Well, welcome to the first episode of whatever podcast this is about to become. Starting something new. I've been practicing astrology for many years and have been in front of the camera quite a lot, but I've never done any podcasting, to be honest. I felt that the field is kind of crowded. It's hard to imagine we need more men in front of microphones. So I've kind of avoided this for a really long time, but I think the time is here now. And what's been really exciting for me is to be your neighbor. So, Shahem, we've lived next to each other now actually for a few years,
Yeah.
and we didn't meet until a couple of months ago.
Divine timing.
Yeah, so this is Shahem, and welcoming Shahem into the room. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Shahem. I'm a licensed therapist, dabble in astrology here and there.
I think it's a little more than dabble, though, right? I mean, you're kind of known
Right.
for.
It is part of my platform.
Yeah.
I'm a public educator too. I don't even know how to introduce myself sometimes because
Yeah.
I would consider myself like a jack of all trades,
Yeah.
but those are my main gigs.
Okay. Well, I think it's a unique space that you kind of occupy with mental health as a professional and working with astrology. I mean, I'll tell you, I have a lot of people who, for instance, will work with me. They'll have a career, for instance, in mental health. They'll have been a counselor, therapist, even up to a level of psychiatry. But maybe at some stage in their career, they have a desire to kind of shift gears a little bit. They want to work with astrology a little bit more, but there's a lot of red tape around how much therapists in different parts of the world are allowed, really, by board and licensure to kind of step into this world. Do you have any kind of boundaries like that that you have to deal with?
You know, what I'll say to that is maybe it's because I'm an Aries Mars and by nature I love to rebel. I really don't care about red tape.
I understand.
And I don't know, my whole approach to therapy in general is humanizing the therapeutic experience, but beyond that, like changing and shifting the way that it's set up.
Yeah.
So I think astrology, much like anything else, could be a really important tool
Yeah.
that people, if they identify with it, if they can relate to it, can be used for self-analysis and
Yeah.
figuring out what they can reflect on and introspect on. So I don't really care about that other stuff. If there is red tape, I really don't see
You
it.
don't know about it?
Yeah. If there is, don't get me wrong, but like I have a boundary where it's like if I talk about that with a client, they have to come to me, which a lot of my clients know me from social media, so they
I
know that
see. So they understand that the
yeah,
door is open if they want to walk through it.
yes. I just read a client chart like 2 days ago.
Did you? So
Yeah.
I don't actually know much about your experience with doing chart interpretation or anything like that. Is that something that's a normal part of your?
Only when my clients bring it to me, which they do every time almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I do have, like I say, a lot of clients who are trying to make this transition for themselves.
Mm.
I didn't actually think that I might be able to ask you this, but we're here now. Do you have any guidance or advice for people who are trying to make this kind of transition for themselves? I'll tell you that some of the concerns that they might have is, should I use my name? Should I market that I do this? Do I set up a different practice that, now I'm part-time doing this, part-time doing this?
Yeah.
What thoughts do you have about people setting this up for themselves?
Am I allowed to curse on here?
You can do whatever you want.
Do whatever the fuck you want. That's step 1. But step
Yeah.
2 is remember your ethical like guidelines and boundaries. Like
Mm.
don't follow your clients online. You're allowed to exist on the internet as a human being, much
Yeah.
like anyone else. But if you're speaking from a place of being a therapist, like make sure whatever you say is not violating those codes of ethics. Um, have boundaries between you and the people you're working with.
Yeah.
Be kind, don't be a dickhead. Yeah, but
That's a good
ultimately,
one.
don't let like the tradition of the field limit the way you approach like this work and how you can incorporate like the occult and the spiritual. Many spiritual and occultist people need mental health care too.
Yeah.
And if you want to separate the two, be sure to like really separate the two. But I don't think they always have to be separate. There's overlap.
Yeah. Well, I think that you brought up a good point about you're allowed to exist online. So I'll tell you a like short story about my professional history because for most of my life I had a traditional job. I am a full-time astrologer now. I've
Yeah.
been doing that since 2020 when COVID changed the deck a little bit for me in terms of, what was going on. I worked in data science consulting. It was my favorite job. I mean, I think actually my favorite job was in high school when I worked at Dairy Queen. That was my favorite job. But as an adult, I got to work in data science for infrastructure firms, which was
Mm.
incredible. My primary client was here in New York City, and if I gave the name, everybody would know it. It's a part of every New Yorker's day-to-day life and transit in this city. And okay, and
MTA.
I
Wade didn't say
remember,
that, I did.
I remember it was maybe like a year into the contract, the well, she was the VP at the time, or executive vice president. I can't remember exactly what her title was, but she was pretty far up there, and she was the head of the contract that I was on. And we went out for drinks, as sometimes you do after like a successful delivery of a project. And she shared the story about how um, the procurement office who was overseeing our bid to say, because what will happen is that an organization will say, we need help building A,
Mm.
and who's out here who can help us do it? You submit a bid saying, me and my team, we can do it. And here's how we've done things like this before. Here are the people who will be working on the project. Here's our availability, what the time would look like and cost, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So you put that out there. And she told me that when they were evaluating ours, somebody in the procurement office was looking up every single one of the individuals that was listed. And I was relatively high up on the list of people in terms of who was going to be here most frequently, who was going to be kind of in charge of what was going on here, that, the other. But when you Google my name, I mean, the only thing that came up at that time were all my interviews, all the conferences that I'd done. Everything was focused on astrology. And this guy, apparently there's a whole meeting around it.
Oh my
Like, do we
God.
really want to bring in somebody who believes in these kind of things? Is this what we want to do? Do we open ourselves up to a bit of ridicule? And apparently the overwhelming response was he's allowed to have a personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was so funny. That guy ended up being, I think, a pretty good support. And in the end, and we worked really well together, but it was funny to know a year after that it didn't. And now I understood, hearing that, why the first couple of months were so weird
Wow.
with that.
That's
But
so annoying.
procurement offices, man,
Yeah.
that's how it goes. You have a little bit more experience, much more experience in the mental health field than me, because my experience is limited to being a client and to being on the patient side of things. But I'm curious about the intersection of astrology and mental health. Like, where do these two intersect? Do you see boundaries between them?
Yeah.
Healthy relationship between these ideas? Because I think it can be very easy with astrology sometimes to lose yourself into
Yeah.
images of things and symbols, and
Yeah.
you know
Trust me, trust me. I'm very well aware how easy it is to lose yourself in anything,
mm.
truly. I always say my favorite B word is balance, and I like a lot of B words. So it's really
Okay.
just important to approach it like anything else,
Yeah.
like grounding yourself, making sure your head isn't too far in the clouds, like practicing mindfulness and using it like everything else. It's a tool. It's neither positive or negative. It
Yeah.
just is.
Yeah.
And when you are able to take a step back and see astrology that way, I feel like it's easy to use it in the therapeutic process if it's applicable, because it's not always applicable. 9 times out of 10, it is not applicable, and only if a client brings it to you. And
Yes.
I say that because, like, I would hate, because I'm in therapy myself. I would hate if I'm, like, having a whole meltdown and my therapist is like, "You're such a
You're
Taurus."
such a Taurus. That's
I would
such a
be like,
Taurian thing for
"Girl,
you to
if you
say.
don't focus, lock in, Jessica."
Maybe she was, actually. Maybe that's the exact thing you needed to hear.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes, sometimes. There are clients of mine I look at and I'm just like, "You are so stereotypical zodiac sign," because I can't say their signs right now because that would violate HIPAA. But, like, genuinely, I do think, just having a balanced approach and, is astrology real? Is astrology fake? Who cares? It's a tool like anything else. If somebody relates to it, you can use that to help them assess and analyze, like, their feelings and what's coming up for them.
Yeah.
Like, why do you relate to this so much? Like,
Yeah.
these are the questions that I think any therapist worth their weight in salt could, like, answer, or an approach that they can take. I just think it's, like, not that deep. And
Yeah.
again, there's so much history in this field and so much traditionalism, and some of the rules are very rigid. And I
You
think,
talking about therapy and
yeah, yeah,
psychology?
yeah.
Okay. But I
That
was gonna say you sound like you're describing astrology. Actually, I mean, we've talked a little bit
both
about some of
and
the okay,
hmm
and yeah, both
yeah,
and
I'm sure you can get into that aspect
you
of it
saw me
too.
sit up a little bit.
Yeah. But what I will say is, no shade. Every time I look at a client chart, my eye goes straight to that Chiron,
I
and
see.
I'm almost never wrong. I'm just
Yeah.
like, ooh, that makes so much sense for you.
Yeah. Right.
Or the Pluto placement. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm just realizing if I know where those are for me. I do. I practiced astrology for many years before I realized that I had a almost exact Sun Pluto square.
Oof.
I do have a no, don't do an oof. We are
Sorry.
recording.
Sorry about that,
That's
everybody.
fine. So there was
Delete
the
that, Miles.
we'll fix that in post. No, there was yeah, that so I was surprised. I was like, how did I miss that? I have a Sun Pluto square. I have an exact moon Pluto sextile. And it took another astrologer to point that out to me. And I thought,
Mm,
I'm sure no one ever interacts with that when they meet me. That was a lie. But
no comment.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. But Chiron that is a planet sorry, a Kentar, an
Asteroid.
asteroid that I don't work with very much.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of work with
Yes.
Chiron?
Chiron, I look at it because, for those who don't know, I'm sure everybody listening to this would know. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's
Yeah.
typically viewed as like an area where you would have in an energy in which you would have a deeper wound
Yeah.
that you kind of have to heal throughout your lifetime. And once you kind of conquer that, you can use it to like heal others. So my Chiron, for example, it depends on the house system. I prefer personally using Placidus. How do you feel about that?
I feel great about that.
I
It's a
also like,
quadrant-based system. I feel great about
okay,
that.
good, because
It keeps the middle of the sky in the middle of the sky. That's all I care about.
thank you.
You're
Like whole
welcome.
sign housing. I do like whole sign too sometimes. Like, but I prefer like Placidus.
Mhm.
So I have my Chiron in Virgo,
Mhm.
and it's in my
Your Chiron is in Virgo. I'm
yeah.
following. Yep.
Oh my goodness, which house is that? The eighth house.
Right.
Um.
I also have an 8th house Chiron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's find out like where this transference is about to occur.
What sign
So
is it in?
Gemini, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we both had that
Yeah,
mercurial
Mercurial. Yeah.
influenced. But what were you gonna say about you?
Okay, so actually like a lot of like my natal chart, like unfortunately points to where I'm at right now as far as career. It's so ugly. I hate it.
Wow, because that is not the impression from the outside that I get. I mean, when I first met Shahem, I remember feeling like I was stepping into like I needed you. You're a huge name. I knew about you years before I knew you.
Really?
Are you kidding? I think we all know who you are, you know?
Oh, please.
No, I think we do. I think anybody who spent any time on social media, what ends up happening is even if I'm not, for instance, as an astrologer, maybe I'm astrologer A, B, or C, whatever, but maybe I'm not following your account.
Mm.
As an astrologer, I will have friends who love your content who forward it to me, and they'll say things like, "So what do you think? Yes? No?" That is what happens all the time is people forward me things from other people and ask my opinion, which is my least favorite thing to.
And you know what? That's really funny because you're like a really serious astrologer, and I do know like astrology, don't get me wrong, but I like do fun pop astrology,
Mhm.
which I also like think is annoying, but it's fun. Like
It is
everything
fun.
should be fun. Balance it out, y'all. Like
Yeah.
everything doesn't have to
It's
be
the B word
serious
again.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not want to be a therapist. That's a fun fact about me. But again, my chart, like I have Jupiter in Scorpio in the 10th,
I see.
Pluto in Scorpio in the 11th. A lot of these things, North Node in Scorpio too. Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot of like pull in the direction of like deep introspection. Pisces moon.
That's great though. I mean, wow, so what I'm understanding about your birth chart, and I'm just trying to reconstruct this from my memory. So of what you've said today. So Jupiter in the 10th house, wherever Jupiter is, there's going to be plenty of opportunities. So that's kind of and I think that since I've known you, I've gotten to see a little bit about what plenty of opportunity looks like in reality. I don't
Goodness.
think you have like half a day to yourself ever.
Ever.
Ever. But the North Node there, I think, is really powerful. But you've also got Mars ruling the midheaven. So in Aries, if I remember that correctly, Mars in Aries, is that what you said?
Yep.
and your midheaven's actually in Scorpio. Is that
Yep.
right? So, wow. I mean, having a really career is going to be a pretty big defining part of your life
Tell me about it.
for a long time,
Tell
you
me
know.
about it.
But you've got like this incredible expansion kind of symbolism. I hate using the word expansion for Jupiter. I'm sorry. But when you talk about a Mars Jupiter signature, it actually is probably the best, because Mars is an expansionary planet as well. They have very different type of energy. I'm not mansplaining to you. I'm just talking in general.
You're fine.
But I have a Mars Jupiter trine in my birth chart. So I spent a fair deal of time having to kind of make sense of the shadow side of these two planets working together, because Mars likes to claim new territory for itself,
Yeah.
and Jupiter likes to gentrify it and make it beautiful and pretty. And this is, how these two tend to work together, is to create this kind of ever evolving, growing sense of existence and being and taking up a lot of space. But you seem to have a very similar signature in your birth chart. They are not in trine like they are in mine, but they are in each other's signs, Jupiter by triplicity or whatever. But the point is, you've got these kind of connections in this area of your life. So that can give a lot of energy, but it takes a lot too, I think.
Tell me about it. We'll have that conversation after the
In
camera
bar
roll.
101. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that bar 101.
But yeah, no, as far as therapy and astrology, I actually think they're a perfect marriage, if you ask me. But of course, I'm biased. But I also don't think like tradition needs to be followed to the T. Like, who cares? Like, have fun with it, y'all.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. When you're working with this, what does it look like if I was to go and say I would like, maybe it's not me, maybe that would be different since we know each other, but if somebody comes to you and says, let's talk about my astrological chart, my birth chart, what does that look like if they come to see you and talk about those things? What's your process?
If they say that, I'm like, either send me your birth chart. If they're like, I don't have it, I'll be like, I'll send them the website to plug in their birth time and birth date. They'll give me the chart. I'll share my screen and we'll be like, let's run through it.
Yeah.
I look immediately for that Chiron though. Like, for example, if you have Chiron in the 6th, I'll probably be like, oof.
Right.
Health is like a big theme, and a lot of the times, almost every time, that's the case. Like, and depending on the degree, if you follow degree theory and stuff, like it's like I can pinpoint like around what age this probably started to come up. Pluto is a big one. Like where you have Pluto, typically you're gonna have like you're gonna feel like that area of your life either is like constantly being controlled. You're gonna feel like other people are trying to control you. Pluto in the 1st, that's we'll put a pin in that for after this is rolling. Like I typically like can pinpoint like certain pain points in people's lives that way, but also areas where people can grow and expand. I look at aspects, how that like is showing up. When I was reading my client's chart the other day, I'm like, oh, this makes sense for this, and you should like consider going in this direction if I was an astrologer and not your therapist. But your life is already lining up that way. Like I can see if a client is like someone who should be more visible. I could see if they need to shut their mouth for the next couple of months.
See, that's what you would have seen in my chart. I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. That's it. I got angular moon, angular Mercury. We call it my Angela Mercurial, the German chancellor. But
also Saturn. I have Saturn square Venus. Girl.
Yeah. I do too. Nothing special. We got the same thing.
Yeah. It's
a bit of a brutal combination, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something to work through. So, okay, so you, in your practice working with astrology, focus primarily on natal astrology, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah. Transit sometimes, but like mostly natal.
Yeah,
because it's like what therapy. I'm a trauma therapist. I should elaborate on that too. I'm typically going to source. And because I go to source with people, like to understand themselves, like in a more deeper introspective level, like what type of experiences shape them. Also, the 4th house is, I pay attention to that one a lot. But yeah, I use like natal charts to typically like dig a little deeper as far as like how do you feel innately. Of course, life progresses. People's like transits are constantly happening. suns are all over the place, moons too. So
Mhm,
I tell them to take everything with a grain of salt, and we're
mm.
just looking at like the blueprint, like what's underneath of the hood. But like a lot of things shift and change over time too.
They do. I find that a really fascinating point of discussion about the way so, like, what do you do, for instance, when somebody comes to you and they're in their 6th decade or 7th decade of life, and you're looking at their astrological placements when they were born, recognizing that this person has had significantly more life under their belt
Yeah,
than me, than you, and, how much of that is likely to change.
yeah,
But I suppose maybe having a window into, your experience as a therapist would help because I think frequently in therapy, it's a similar kind of thing where frequently the experiences we have, they kind of wind back on themselves and they find new ways to recreate old
yes.
old patterns that find new expression and new ways for themselves to manifest around us. It's amazing as a
Yeah.
species, I think, how impressionable we are by images and symbols and patterns and things that feel like what we can follow. Even people who insist, I don't follow others. I don't, even that itself is,
Yeah.
it's like a little bit of an addiction there.
Yeah.
Um,
Nothing we do exists within a vacuum. Like
yeah,
that's the reality.
yeah.
And with my work, I try to emphasize that a lot too. And I love that you are bringing up like how energy can manifest because, like, even with the signs, for example, like people have such stereotypical views of each sign, but
Mhm.
like energy can manifest in so many different ways. Like,
Yeah.
I know if you could put two Tauruses with the same birthday in the same place and they would be completely different.
Yeah.
Although I more on this
They'll
later.
both be going to the buffet a second time, but the rest of the details of their life might be a little
Oh
different.
my God, please. I'm
No.
so tired of the eating stereotype.
Oh, it's my favorite. I love it. I owe it for years. I was like, I just kind of want to end up with a bunch of Tauruses around because I love eating. And I was like, I never feel bad about it when I'm
Be
with a.
careful what you ask for now. My goodness.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, I'm in my work, natal astrology is part of my work,
mm.
but I think people probably know me for other things before they think about natal astrology, mostly because I follow the Toni Morrison motto of, we don't need to hear about your little life. There's so much of life out there to explore. Now, that sounds very crazy the way that I just like
No.
repurposed that quote. I love that quote though, because I think it does kind of put into context that right now, I do feel that we have a tendency to look inward forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and
I
ever. And
agree.
we navel gaze to a point where we kind of get disoriented. We lose ourselves a little bit. Everything becomes a pathology that needs to kind of be
Mhm.
explained. It needs to be contextualized. It needs to be understood. It needs to be received by the people around me. I need to be accepted. I need to be heard. I need to be seen right now. Am I being seen? Am I being heard? And I think these are very powerful places to come from, but it's like any tool can be overused,
Yes.
I believe is a common point of so that's usually where, for me, I'm not very good on extended long so for instance, as a therapist, you might have a client that you see every week, I imagine?
Most of my clients, yeah.
Okay. I can't talk to you every week about a client. I'm saying, not you. You're fine. You're fine. We do talk. But I can't just talk about the same thing or even iterations of the same thing every week. It doesn't really work for me. So a lot of my work is geared towards things that I am more skilled at.
Yeah.
So horary astrology is a big part of my practice. I don't know if you know much about horary though.
That's
Have
the
we
more
talked about that?
predictive, the way where you like found the yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
told
so
me.
well, so I'll explain it just for the benefit of those who are watching. So Horary astrology is a technique that we can use to answer specific questions. I've lost my passport. Where is it? Will we get pregnant? I've been trying to get pregnant for the last 5 years. It's not working. Will we get pregnant this year? Will I be able to sell this home at a profitable rate? Or do I need to slow down, change my expectations? It's if you've got a problem and it's your business to get involved in trying to solve it and sort it, then there's almost nothing that I can. And it's also not base. I mean, I remember when I was first learning about Horary astrology, every now and again you would run across these individuals. And I had a few. I had the craziest consultation request ever. Was somebody who wanted me to tell him whether his wife was sleeping with the woman that they're letting stay in the
Oh,
house.
wow.
Yeah, so it turns out this woman is his wife's cousin.
Oh.
So that's crazy. And I didn't even touch that, which is a world in and of itself. In the end, what he actually wanted from me was to elect a time using astrology where he might walk in on them and maybe be able to
I know you're not about to say what I
join and
Oh
participate.
my goodness.
And
Jesus Christ.
I can't tell you, no matter how many times I try to say there's no way I'm getting involved in that. That's crazy. He would always come back with a different phrasing. He's like, maybe we can ask about it this way. I'm like,
No.
mm-mm. So anyway, if there's a, it doesn't put me in a position of dishonor to engage with the idea that you've put forward, then there's nothing that we can't do together. And
What
mundane astrology,
Yeah.
sociological astrology, I do a lot of that,
Okay.
which we'll talk about in a little bit during our time recording today. But Horary astrology might be one of these areas where we have a little bit of overlap. So, for instance, in my profession, like I'm working with Horary and I also teach this technique. It takes not a lot of time to learn how to do it, but it takes a long time to learn how to do it well, and it takes possibly a lifetime to learn how to continue to do it in a changing landscape with social realities that are constantly shifting and moving around. Um, when you teach this particular subject and you give somebody the tools to be able to begin to interpret Hori for themselves, suddenly you'll find that you have problems all the time because now you can answer them using this divine, third option of pulling down the stars and getting them on a piece of paper or your computer. And let me find the answer to this question of, does he like me?
It's like
What is this
tarot.
going on with it's just like tarot. What's going on with this new girlfriend? I hear that they're going to get married. Are they really going to get married? Meanwhile, it's just eating you up inside. So I've had a few students, clients, colleagues even who've kind of gotten into a little bit of a trap
Mm.
of maybe looking into the astrology repeatedly over and over again to get some kind of solace for their soul. What ends up happening is they just see a mirror for their own insecurities. So if they see that it's over, in the astrology that's in front of them, that's going to largely be because their entire thought process at this stage is, it's over, it's over, it's over. Please tell me it's not over. So then they're surprised when you open up an astrological chart and realize that the signature of destruct, the tower, is everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
So what do you do in those situations for yourself? I mean, or clients around you that are maybe looking into the well and not learning to step away, live their life a little bit.
Oh, like I said, my favorite B word is balance.
Yeah.
And I'm so like, as much as like I'm even a trauma therapist and I like to look backwards and reflect, I tell every client of mine this: you could visit the past, you cannot live there. You cannot hyperfixate on things because that interrupts the grieving process. It is part of the grieving process, but you
Yeah.
can't stay there.
Yeah.
Like there is such a thing as like overkill. And just like finding that sweet spot between knowing and not knowing, comfort in like the things we can control and the things that we can't. Like trying to find that balance there. I always emphasize the balance because it's easy to lose yourself in anything. Like I read tarot too. Me outing myself as a tarot reader.
No,
But
I love that about you. I've never gotten to see you do that. I think I'd like to one day, but
I don't do it often these
yeah,
days
exactly.
because you can
It's
get like lost in
rare.
it. Like I do readings occasionally when people are like, "Can you please do a reading for me?" I'm like, "Ah, whatever." Yes.
They drag you out.
Yeah. Out of retirement. I used to do it a lot online, but then that's actually one of those things where I was like, "Ooh, I'm a therapist. Let me chill," because
I see.
people started treating it like it was a free therapy session. Because I don't like really charge for tarot readings or even astrology readings because I'm like, I'm a therapist. I wanna
It's
be
fine
taken.
if you do it at your own discretion, but yeah, I think when people start feeling like they're
No,
next in line.
my thing was actually because like and people still do it to this day.
Mm.
There was a point where everybody was like, "Oh yeah, the astrologer Shahem," and I was like, I went to school for 6 years.
Yeah.
did a freaking the internship for 2, got 3,000 plus hours not to be called no damn astrologer. And
Yeah.
that's no shade to the astrologers, like, because astrologers put their work in too. But I'm like, I actually
It's
went
not quite the same, but
all of this like debt for me to be a therapist. You're gonna respect me as a
please, that's
therapist.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's what. Also, I was like, let me take a step back because
I have a friend who is an astrologer. She's got 2 kids, and one of them is like all Libra, Capricorn. She's
oh,
very, very put together, very proper. And when she introduced for years, when she would introduce her mother, who was one of the first people to teach me astrology, she was my first astrological teacher and tutor, and now she's one of my best friends. But her daughter, when she would introduce her mother to her friends, she would say she does property investment because that was her side gig. She didn't want to introduce her mother as an astrologer. It's just like
what?
sometimes it's
That's so fun.
yeah. I think it's the same thing though. It's like let me put the respectable thing first, and we'll feel things out, and
Oh,
we'll
no, I
see.
respect astrology. Don't get me wrong. I just went to school for them years, and
Yeah,
I'm a therapist. I would say an astrologer, but I'm also like there are people who, and I tell people this a lot too. Like there are people who dedicate their lives to learning this stuff. While I know a great deal more than the average person,
mm,
I am not someone who's dedicated my life to this being my job. Do have I gotten some serious things under my belt as far as astrology? Yeah. Why? I have no idea. I just read books and stuff.
yeah.
And I guess I study to an extent, but I'm more so a therapist. Like that's my actual field of study.
And I'm curious now. Does that change for you in the future? Do you? Hmm.
Book a session with Wade. That's the only way we'll find out, huh?
All right. Well, it was really great to talk to you about this. Pretty soon, we've got these books that we have behind.
Excited.
Yeah, we've got these. This is my book of within this, I have quite a lot of.
This is Wade's grimoire.
It's not a grimoire at all. This is my astrological workbook. I just call it my book. Actually, it's like the book with a capital B, and in here a lot of material about in this particular case, about Washington, D.C. and the astrological
Uh,
record from 2024 to 2028. In this case, every 4 years, they fill up a binder about this big. So you and I, in our next session, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the rumors that have come out. So there's been this rumor about Kamala and AOC joining together on a ticket. Donald Trump just came out to say that he's going to be running for a 4th term.
Ankles?
And
I call them ankles.
yeah. So there's a lot to discuss there. So I'll look forward to our conversation.
Let's yap about these fools.
Let's see.